beautiful, talented Selena. Welcome to Tejano Country.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
You're a hard act to catch up with. I'm telling you, you have been all over the place. We've basically chased you all over San Antonio and the Valley, and finally made it here to L.A., and we caught up with you.
Yeah.
You're here with the, of course, the Grammys.
The Grammys.
Were recently held.
Last night.
Yes.
As a matter of fact.
And you were nominated. That's quite an honor.
Yes, it was. It was like, you know, just to be around all these artists that are heavyweights is an honor.
Mm-hmm.
And this year we're nominated once again for our album Amor Prohibido. So it was great. It was great to come out and see a lot of familiar faces that we.
Okay, so for those who are not familiar with the beautiful woman who is in that clip, that is Selena Quintanilla. Selena Quintanilla was a musician, and she passed at the unfortunate hands of someone who she trusted enough, who allegedly started out as a fan. But she trusted this woman enough to bring her into her inner circle and to assist with finances. And this very person that she trusted is the same individual who ended up cutting Selena's life short, unfortunately, simply due to jealousy and envy. And the reason why I wanted to depict Selena Quintanilla's case is not necessarily for the perpetrator's case, but for Selena Quintanilla, and more so everything that Selena embodied, just as a phenomenal individual. You know, she truly embodied being the jack of all trades. Not only was Selena beautiful, she was very smart. You could tell just by how the way she, you know, articulated herself, even in that interview clip. Even with her talents, you know, she wasn't someone who just, I know a lot of people have some split opinions regarding attraction, physical attractiveness, and, you know, pretty privilege, that whole conversation. But Selena Quintanilla wasn't just a pretty face. You know, as I said before, she was able to articulate herself. She was clearly very intelligent. She also had an out of this world work ethic. She was also very fashion forward. It was apparent that she was a trendsetter. She was very influential, even though in the film, I know she talked about how like she wanted to dress like Janet Jackson. But what was super unique about Selena is she still put her own twist on it. She still made essentially a fashion footprint for herself. Another thing about Selena Quintanilla too is she was blessed in respects to like her relationship. She was well loved, and not just by her family, not just by her partner, her romantic partner, but her fans. And how this woman who ended up, you know, taking Selena out of this world way ahead of her time, finessed herself, for lack of better words, into Selena's life was by essentially positioning herself as a fan. And in the book Green Eyes, it talks about this. It talks about how envy is often prevalent in progressive and sequential stages. So one of the first stages of envy is often admiration. This is where someone does admire certain qualities about you. It's clear that there's something inspirational and aspirational about you. And a person will attempt to associate themselves with you in the beginning because they genuinely admire those characteristics. And then it will possibly lead, or oftentimes it leads to them coveting whatever it is that they now have access to. And this was evident in the movie where, you know, it started out Yolanda being, I think, the leader of a fan club. And, you know, after she got access to Selena through, I think, becoming like a financial assistant, she was ahead of Selena's finances at some point. After that moment in time, she started to sabotage Selena's finances. And after the coveting stage, it then leads to somebody trying to compete with you. And then, you know, it leads to somebody operating from a state of jealousy. And that's where they start to, you know, externalize those feelings. So now they're no longer harboring certain feelings towards you in hopes of, you know, reaping benefits, or, you know, maybe the characteristics and traits that they admire about you rubbing off on them. When they reach a state of jealousy, now it's about them doing something in order to, you know, alleviate some of that discomfort that they feel, or the discomfort that they feel associated with the jealous and envious emotions. And then finally, you know, it reaches a stage of envy where it's no longer about them and how they feel, and it just solely becomes about the person that they started out admiring. And that's where you'll see them start to externalize certain behaviors on their target of envy. And a lot of the time, the intentions is rooted in sabotaging the target of envy in some way or posing harm to the target of envy. And I wanted to put this video out because a couple months ago, I believe it was actually in March, and I tried to do it in I guess remembrance of Selena's passing a few years ago of this year, where I made a TikTok post, and it was a compilation of pictures of people losing their lives due to jealous and envious persons, or at the hands of jealous and envious persons. And also to what I did on that TikTok post, or the theme that I was getting at, the theme that I was trying to depict, was a lot of these people, because they were so intelligent and smart, they didn't lose their lives for the most part at the hands of a random person. They lost their lives at the hands of someone that they trusted and that they loved, and that they attempted to complete that vetting process, or they gave people a benefit of the doubt. It wasn't just someone random, and they were just like, okay, well, I'm just going to blindly trust you. No, these were people that they invested time and effort into getting to know, and felt like that they had established a friendship or, some kind of camaraderie. And I talk a lot on my page about like different facets of envy, and I break it down. So I recently posted a video dedicated to beauty envy, where someone is envious of you because of your looks. There are also other instances where I talk about someone may envy the fact that you are in a healthy, nourishing relationship. Someone may also envy the attention that you get from other people. Someone may envy a skill set, or, a particular talent that you may have. But when you are somebody who essentially embodies the persona of the jack of all trades, it becomes even more dangerous. Now, the interesting thing about it is this, though, because for those of us who understand how difficult and how honestly burdensome it can be wearing multiple hats at one time, and how much effort and intentionality goes behind being a good sibling, or being a good partner, or, doing the best that you can in the workplace. It's really hard navigating all of those spaces at once. And there's a section in the book titled "Heavy is the Head That Wears the Crown" that depicts the downsides of doing everything so well, right? But when we're on the receiving end of watching someone wear those multiple hats and do it, so well, or, do it in a way that just seems so gracious and so classy and effortless, we kind of blind ourselves to the fact that, no, that comes with a lot of responsibility. And there's honestly a phrase that I'm often reminded of, and it states, "For whom much is given, much is required." So as we watch somebody be the jack of all trades, you also have to understand that with the good comes a lot of bad. So it's a lot of responsibility that they have to manage, while also taking in a lot of the blessings and the positive things that come with it. But nevertheless, when you're dealing with someone with a rose-colored lens, and they're looking at you almost through a lens of entitlement, they feel entitled to receive the same treatment that you're receiving simply by being in association with you, or simply being in contact with you, or admiring you and feeling like, okay, well, if I emulate it, I should get the same exact results. When you're talking about someone who's operating from that mental space, it's extremely dangerous, because they're not even able to step outside of their emotional intoxication and take into account that, wait, with those kinds of positive attributes, or with those kind of accolades, it comes with a lot of work. And that's why I felt compelled to mention the fact that, yes, Selena was very beautiful and she was intelligent and things like that. But one thing that was clearly documented is her exceptional work ethic from childhood all the way up into her adult life. But the dangerous thing about someone who is trying to associate themselves with you out of jealous and envious intentions is, once they even get access to you in an intimate way, and they see the amount of work that you're putting in, they see the sacrifices that you're making behind the scenes, that still isn't enough. And this is why I want people to really sit with the fact that when you find yourself doing all of these things, and you're telling people like, oh no, this is a lot of work, this is hard work, or you're showing them all that comes with, these blessings, or all that comes with these responsibilities, you have to understand that they do not perceive it that way. They are looking at your life through an entitled and honestly like a blurred lens. They're only focused on why is it that you have this and I don't, even though you may be showing it through your work. You may be showing it through a concrete plan, a concrete blueprint. They're going to completely disregard that and just focus on the rewards. And another reason being the jack of all trades ignites jealousy is sometimes it can trigger people in a sense that your ability to do multiple things at one time and do it with grace is a reminder to them, or at least they can internalize it this way when they're looking at you through a jealous and envious lens. Your ability to do all of those things so effortlessly and so graciously is a reminder of their limited capacity. So there are some individuals who will hate the fact that you're willing to work as hard as you do. There are some people who will hate the fact that you're able to, be a great sibling, be a great partner, be an exceptional worker, or even your ability to bounce back, your ability to deal with adversity. Because I think one thing that kind of goes under the radar is things weren't handed to Selena. And I think that this is a great depiction as well. I actually love Selena's story because it was a lot of trial and error. You watch, especially when you watch the film, I strongly encourage people, if you aren't familiar with Selena Quintanilla's story or the movie, I strongly encourage you to go back and watch it. We watched Selena evolve and work and sacrifice and, miss out on certain things that she wished that she could do for the sake of, establishing herself professionally and carrying out her dreams. So when we put it into that context, it's not always about pretty privilege. Certain people's, opportunities aren't just handed to them, but they earn them, right? Through that work ethic and through their efforts, through their dedication. But people who see that will honestly become offended by it because they want to believe that you're just a one-trick pony, for lack of better words. They want to believe that you don't have, the capacity to do certain things and to carry out certain things. And a lot of the time, it's a slippery slope because people won't only just try to gain access to you when they see that you essentially are embodying the jack of all trades. They won't just try to get access to you for the perks. A lot of the time they're trying to get access to you to figure out, okay, how is this person doing it? Or is it really what it appears to be on the outside looking in? And once a person sees that you live, what you talk about, like everything that you present it's authentic to who you really are behind the scenes, that will infuriate them because some people are only trying to gain access to your life to find cracks in your foundation. And if they can't find cracks in your foundation in order to validate their low sense of self-worth and self-esteem, they'll create those cracks in your foundation for you. And that's where you'll see a lot of these attacks come to the surface, or that's where you'll see, a lot of sabotage efforts and envious schemes and tactics become more and more prevalent. This is often the friend to foe pipeline that begins to unravel in due time. And you'll often see somebody who was essentially love bombing you in the beginning, for lack of better words. Now, all of a sudden, they're becoming more and more hostile with you. And it's because they were hoping to get access to you and figure out some kind of downfall or some kind of, vice or weakness that they can capitalize on, or they could gossip about, or maybe not even gossip about it, but just internalize and feel better about themselves. But when they realize that they don't have the opportunity to bask in that because that's not a reality for you, then that's when you'll see them start to do little things to sabotage you in order to create that havoc in your life. You are putting in the effort to be the jack of all trades, whether it be you want to live up to an expectation that you set for yourself, or you're not just living for you, you're living for other people around you who are rooting for you and who are supporting you. You have to keep in mind that being the jack of all trades is not just limited to the responsibilities and the burdens that you're so familiar with. There are people on the outside looking in who are watching you wear those hats graciously and seemingly so effortlessly, and they are resenting you because of it. So when people are trying to gain access into your life under the guise of assisting you or helping you, you have to keep your head on a swivel, because some people are only gaining that access to figure out how you do what you do in hopes of figuring out something negative about you. And if they can't figure out anything negative about you, what they'll do is they'll create negative circumstances and outcomes in your life. So I know I have a video on my page that talks about destiny swapping and like exclusivity is key, but in this case, be conscientious, be cautious of the help that is being presented to you, because all help isn't good help, or rather, better yet, all help that's being presented to you isn't necessarily rooted in good intentions. Okay, so that's all that I have for this video, babes. Let me know what you think. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for tuning in, and feel free to drop your personal experiences in the comment section below.